When we build a website with Sanity, we always make sure to build it with SEO best practices in mind. That way, the website gets to rank properly on search engines, namely Google. So today we'll be covering four main topics. Number one is the on-page SEO. Number two, the infrastructure. Number three, the content editing experience. And number four, how that relates to page speed, which is a key factor of SEO. So number one, what we do is enable content editors on Sanity's dashboard to control the title and the meta description of any single page. So here, for example, we are on the Sanity dashboard of TeamLoof, and let's go on a test page. If we go here at the bottom, we can see that we have the SEO and social, and there are fields for each. So here we have for title, and here we have for description. There is also a word counter to help content editors understand to which limit they should get to, and it works well. So here you can see test page SEO title. Same applies for the description, and there are also some field descriptions to explain to content editors how this works. So that's number one. Number two, you have the ability as well to add alt tags to your images to improve the likelihood of them ranking. So let's say we create an image and we select one of them from the media library, doesn't matter which one. Here we are encouraged to put an alt tag. Next, what we have is the indexation. So if you decide that you don't want, for example, this test page to be live or indexed on Google, you can just select hidden and it won't show up in Google. So it will be a private URL, or you can make it public. That's up to you. The other cool thing that you can do is control the URL structure to be specific the slug. So in this case, it's called test page and it's based on the title of this document. If we call it new about page and we click on generate, it will give us the slug here. So it's worth mentioning as well that if we pick a slug that is the same as another one that exists already, we will get a warning. Slug is already in use and it will block us from going ahead and publishing it. The next thing we can discuss is how we are generating social images. So these do not have any impact on SEO directly. However, they do impact the conversion when it comes to sharing this in social setups. So, and it's worth mentioning in this video. So as you can see here, we have a social sharing image. This image gets displayed when you share the article on, let's say, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, or whatever other social media. What you can do is generate a sharing image. It automatically took our new title, which is new about page, but we can generate one from scratch. We can type whatever we want. The great thing about this is that it ensures consistency across your social images. Whenever you share them, it's always the same branding. And the next thing to keep in mind is structured data. So you can configure structured data to inform Google about certain content of your website. For example, maybe we can find an example here. Best pizza in Berlin. Well, yeah, here we go. So if someone puts a structured markup of ratings, they will be able to display such rich content. We are currently doing it as well with TeamLoof, with our ratings or testimonials, and with job postings, articles, and our logo. So that here, for example, you can add a testimonial, and then automatically you can in the code make sure that it's considered as structured data. So that's for the on-page SEO. The second point that I wanted to cover is the infrastructure. So first of all, there is the ability to see which content refers to a certain page. This does not impact SEO directly, but at least it gives your content editors the possibility to understand how many internal links there are pointing to, for example, the home page. In this case, we have the imprint page, the header navigation, and the not found page. So this will help, for example, your content editors decide if that's enough or not for, let's say, an article page. The other thing to keep in mind is that you are able to manage the redirects from Sanity. So on this dashboard for Tinloof, we don't have any redirects. So I'll jump to one for our client, one of our clients. You have here the redirects. So what they do is they select the original page path, and then they decide on the target path. And they can decide if it's a permanent redirect or not. Why are redirects important? So many times you may end up changing the URL structure and you don't want to lose on the SEO juice that you're getting already. So it's important to set up the redirects, and having them managed from one single source of truth helps a lot. The other thing to keep in mind is sitemaps. So as you've seen in the previous studio, or even this one, you have the slugs, and we automatically generate a sitemap for you. So you don't have to submit it manually on Google Search Console. The other thing to keep in mind is for content that is available in multiple languages, we make sure to automatically have the href lang tag. And in this case, let's say for this client, Exact Health, the content here is in English, so it will know which href lang tag to put. If you go on the Spanish, it will know that it will be for Spanish. That's mainly it for the infrastructure. When it comes to the content editing experience, so this per se does not impact SEO directly. However, it impacts the coordination of your content team and how motivated they are when it gets to producing content. And that impacts the quality of the work they do, and that impacts their SEO. So it's worth mentioning the content editing experience. As you can see, Sanity is a very easy to use dashboard. You just go here, you create a page, and then you can fill it up with content. In our case, we use a modular architecture, so we stack content on top of each other. And this comes with very nice features to enable smooth content editing experience. So the first one I would like to show is the open preview. What I mean by open preview or live preview is the ability to, let me show you. Here we have, for example, it says featured work, and I can decide to change this, featured case studies, and you will be able to see it live before publishing it on Google. I didn't press the publish button yet, so this helps you see how your content would look like before making it go live. And the other thing to keep in mind is the ability to see the version history. That way, if you want to see who changed what, or if you want to get back to a previous version, you can do that. The other cool thing about Sanity as well is the collaborative editing experience. What I mean by this is that if your content editors want to work together on a piece, they can go, both of them, on the homepage, or more than two, and they can eventually type, and they will see on the live preview how that looks like. And lastly, this is not available on our current setup, but on the Pro plan, you can have a scheduling feature from which you can easily schedule content to be published at a certain time. So that's for the content editing experience, which leads me to the next point. Because of this architecture of using Sanity as, let's say, a headless CMS and separately having a front end, we are able to achieve great flexibility when it comes to the front end aspect. And that gives us good performance scores. And to give you an example, we can use teamloof.com. And if you go on page speed insights, you can see that we score above 90, which is great. And we as well pass the core vitals assessment. So this is possible because we're able to do pretty much whatever we want on the front end, be it image optimization, font loading optimization, browser caching, configuration, and so on. It allows you to have great scores on performance. And performance, as we know now, is a key factor in SEO. And the next thing I wanted to mention is how we get to track our SEO efforts. So we get to use a tool called Ahrefs, and with which we run a weekly audit, and we get to see what is our health score. So it reflects the proportion of internal URLs on your site don't have errors, and we also use the tool to keep track of keyword research, organic traffic growth, and so on, duplicate content, and we have a look at what other websites do. For example, it's a great tool to keep track of your SEO. And whenever we work with a client, we make sure that we get to this score of 100. As you can see right now, we have 0 errors, which is great. And on a weekly basis, we do receive a summary via email telling us what has changed. So that way we can keep an eye on our SEO scores. So all of this is nice, but of course we need to show results, and it has been the case for our clients. I would recommend going to our work page, teamov.com/work, and see the case studies that are tagged, for example, with technical SEO. And you can see that many times we reach great results with our clients. So in the case of Zigo, which is a London-based insurance, if I scroll down a little bit here, you can see that after we have implemented the right technical SEO setup for them, they managed to rank #1 for a very important keyword, which is private hire insurance. And lastly, there are usually many questions that we get asked before working on a project, and these are the following. So, is everything that I've shown you today enough to secure ranking first on Google? No. SEO is a complex topic, and there are many other topics we haven't covered today, subtopics we haven't covered, like link building or website structure. However, it's important to have the technical SEO setup in place and the right content editing experience. That way you're able to easily generate the content. And whenever you publish great content, it can be sent to the top on Google, compared to having poor technical SEO, good content, and then it doesn't show on the top of the search engine results. The other question we get is how is this different from WordPress? So in general, most WordPress websites, they get to mix both the content backend and the front end. In this case, Sanity is not the front end framework. It is only a content backend. And separately, we use a framework for front end that can be Next.js, it can be Remix, or whatever framework you have in mind. And we have the ability to control that. It is true that WordPress as well can be used as a headless CMS, but it hasn't been designed with that in mind. The next thing we get asked a lot is if there is a need to do training to use Sanity. The answer is no, it's easy to use. Most of our clients pick it up in 2-3 minutes, I would say. And there is also a guide we put at the beginning of each dashboard explaining how to use it so that newcomers do not get lost. The other question is Sanity reliable? Short answer, yes. We've used it for more than 2 years now, and we didn't have any incident. In fact, they have been upgrading the platform, which is great, and it's trusted by different brands like Nike, Oma, Sonos, and multiple other ones. And lastly, the question is, will content load slowly if it's hosted on Sanity? Short answer, no. And the reason behind this is because of their global CDNs, and they distribute their assets and content across the whole world. So the responses are very fast. The thing to keep in mind is that you need to configure your front end properly, or we configure it for you. That way we can have peak performance. And that's pretty much it.